What if wine grapes were the first plant humans cultivated and domesticated after tasting the juice of naturally fermenting wild grapes? Wine connoisseurs will certainly smile in appreciation of this possibility, which may have some truth to it, and scholars of the oldest religions will nod in understanding, not surprised at human ingenuity in finding divine beverages that may have given elevated meaning to an otherwise tough existence. Vintage stories about human appreciation of the earliest wine encounters take on many layers of legend. Nearly every culture seems to have lively narratives of ancestral experiments with wine and related beverages, often with humorous overtones on the one hand, or moralistic subtexts on the other. One central idea is certain in human society. Wine has been strongly tied to civilizing forces from the outset, connecting to social ritual, religion, and conviviality, also directly stimulating the arts of dance, music, and poetry, wherever humans have gathered for around 10,000 years, and probably much longer. Logical reflection on plant domestication suggests that grain should not be the first human cultivar, but rather a fairly late comer to the process of human discovery. Fruits are, pardon the pun, much more lower-hanging food sources than grains, which generally require more sedentary practices. It is much easier to first obtain food from wild fruits without much work except to identify, observe, and harvest when ripe, than to actually plant grain seeds, although harvesting wild seeds is not much different from picking fruit, if identifying, observing, and harvesting was also an early step. Obtaining enough food value from wild grain seeds would probably not yield as much volume as from wild fruit, except in grasslands. Of course, human ancestors no doubt did both, but the steps in the process seem much earlier for fruit, as our related primates have deduced for a long time. Fermented fruit, however, add a bonus that other species may not have fully appreciated. Some enologists and beverage historians theorize the grape, now known as Vitis vinifera, was the perfect fruit package for fermentation, with sugar content as high as 20 to 23%, and was thus the first cultivar, not grain, as the vanguard of agriculture. After airborne yeasts like the Saccharomyces genus penetrated the grape skin and altered it, humans were not far behind to discover its virtues, possibly while still on the vine. It is certain that animals beat us to this discovery, since birds have been lining up for old fermenting berries long before us, but even insects and other living things have been at it for possibly up to 100 million years. Given the hundreds of wild world grapevines and varietals on nearly every landmass, birds were the logical disperser of grapes to new lands. By eating the fruit and flying over bodies of water, they dropped the seeds, replete with fertilizer, and dispersed grapevines flourished. Expanding the idea that grapes were the first cultivar, theorists who suggest wine came before bread include pioneering eno-archaeologist Dr. Patrick McGovern, paleochemist and ethnobotanist extraordinaire of the University Museum, University of Pennsylvania, among others. McGovern has coined this idea of the beginning human love affair with grapes and their effects, the Paleolithic hypothesis. The potent but then mysterious combination of psychotropic and elevating effects of grape fermentation were seemingly not lost on Neolithic humans. It is probably too easy, and therefore a cautionary exercise of speculation, to extrapolate how the fermentation products of the grape won something close to religious esteem among our Paleolithic and Neolithic ancestors.